When Scott Norwood's field goal attempt sailed wide through the Tampa Knights 7 months ago, the New York Giants were the Super Bowl champion. The Giants got to the Super Bowl by derailing the 49ers' bid for a third straight Super Bowl victory. A costly Roger Craig fumble late in the game was recovered by Lawrence Taylor. Then Matt Barr hit the game-winning field goal as time expired and sent the Giants to Super Bowl 25. He has been the dominant NFL defensive player of the past 10 years. LT, Lawrence Taylor. As he enters his 11th NFL season, he recognizes the Giants' role as defending Super Bowl champions.
We now have a bullseye on our chest, and we have to play a little bit different. We have to play more aggressive. That's one thing about the 49ers that I've always respected, is that when they've won their Super Bowls, they've came back even stronger the year after.
The San Francisco 49ers beat the Super Bowl champion New York Giants on the season premiere of ABC's Monday Night Football.
Under the G47. G47. Under the I-18. I-18.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Are you ready as the Niners and the Giants kick off the primetime show? We're gonna make you smile and get rid of your blues and do the Monday Night Football boogie for you. Are you ready for the football? It's the game of the week that's coming your way. It's Monday Night Football and it's time to play.
ABC's Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, just across the Hudson River from New York City. A spectacular September evening, a perfect night for football. Obviously a sellout crowd and a wonderful setting for the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, along with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. Happy you're with us and spending your Labor Day evening with us. And we think we have a very special super kickoff of our 1991 Monday Night Football season. The Giants and the 49ers, between these two teams, and I can hardly hear myself because of the roar, they have won the last 3 Super Bowls, 4 out of the last 5. The Giants 13-3 last year. They lost last year to the 49ers 7-3 during the season, but they beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game and then won Super Bowl 25 over Buffalo 2019. Now the 49ers had a great season. They were trying to three-peat. They had won Super Bowls 23 and 24, but they were derailed by the Giants in that championship game right at the gun. They think they've got it all back together again, Al. They've got fine personnel. They've done a fine job of turning over this football team, a perfect preseason, and they are looking to get back on that track again.
I think they will, but a lot of people, Frank, think this is a vulnerable team. They point to the fact that Ronnie Lott and Roger Craig are gone. Joe Montana is hurt. But I think when you look at the 49ers, keep in mind the defensive unit has been at or near the top of the league for a number of seasons now. They did not give up a touchdown to the Giants in their 2 meetings last season, and the defense is as good as ever. If they have an Achilles heel, it's probably the running game. Craig has gone to Los Angeles. Dexter Carter looks like more of a third down back. Their other backs are unproven or untested, but then again, keep in mind with Montana out, their best running back is probably in the starting lineup tonight. His name is Steve Young. Another thing about the Niners, how tough are they to beat on the road? Well, this team has now won 18 consecutive regular season road games. They've not been beaten away from home since November of '88. When you factor in postseason play, the 49ers have won their last 22 in a row away from Candlestick Park. The 49ers love to fly, and it shows. as far as the Giants are concerned.
Please.
Yes, all right. It's been a long season.
Hope you get an upgrade.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. Let's talk about the Giants thing. Clearly the big story. Who was going to be the quarterback during all of the offseason? Ray Handley, the new coach, 10 days ago said, my man is Jeff Hostetler.
And Al, he really surprised a lot of people, myself included, by that name, because I thought it would be Phil Simms. I'm from the old school that says you don't lose your job unless you lost it through your play, not because of injury. But really, how does Ray Handley lose? I mean, his choices were between two quarterbacks, both of whom have won a Super Bowl. And I guess you have to understand this when you look at what happened yesterday. Randall Cunningham, Dave Craig out. You better have two guys that can play, and the Giants indeed do. Understand also the role of the quarterback here with the Giants. Your job is to hand off to the powerful running game. Your job is to not throw interceptions. You don't do anything that compromises the great defense of the New York Giants. And believe me, the Giants can still play defense.
And so we're ready to start at Giants Stadium as Matt Barr gets set to kick off. Dexter Carter is back deep, along with Spencer Tillman. And Barr, whose 5 field goals beat the 49ers in the playoffs last year, booms one into the end zone, and a touchback. Downed in the end zone by Dexter Carter, and San Francisco will begin from the 20-yard line. Steve Young, out of Brigham Young. He went to the USFL in 1984, 2 seasons there with the LA Express, then to Tampa Bay, then to San Francisco. He has Carter and Rathman behind him, Rice and Taylor, the terrific wideouts, and Jones, the tight end. It's a very good offensive line. They've done a lot of moving and shifting through the years. A new face, though, is at right guard, the longtime Dolphin, Roy Foster, acquired on Plan B, as Rathman starts over the right side, picks up 2, takes it to the 22. And it will be 2nd down and 8. Now the Giants, a basic 3-4, and they're banged up front. They have Fox, Washington, and Marshall starting, with Banks, Reasons, Johnson, and Taylor as the linebackers. Collins and Walls at the corners. Jackson and Guyton are the safeties. 2nd down, 8 from the 22-yard line. And the 49ers come up as spread out as I've seen them in the last 10 years. Rathman in motion as everybody is in the pattern, and Jones drops it over the middle, the tight end. And that's a formation the 49ers have not used through the 80s. They had everybody spread, Rathman going in motion, and Jones just simply dropped it over the middle.
And very uncharacteristic of Jones. Good hands, 56 receptions a year ago. Very good pass-catching tight end, and that would have been good for the first down. The Giants were covering in his own defense. They weren't even close to Jones.
3rd and 8. Rice comes left to the bottom of the screen. Taylor at the top of the screen, with split backs behind Young. Everybody into the pattern. He hits Rathman over the middle, but he needed to get to the 30, and they will mark the ball. If they don't put the nose on the stripe, they are short of the first down, and they don't, so it's 4th down. Gary Reasons makes the stop. And the first ovation of the season belongs to the Giant defense. 4th down.
And what's new?
Yeah.
And what's new? And again, here's the spot. As Al said, the nose of the ball had to get to the 30-yard line, and it was apparent that it did not. And here's a guy the Giants only got a couple days ago, Dave Meggett.
Meggett, a holdout through all of training camp, came in with Mark Ingram and William Roberts just 4 days ago. Ralph Moshenko, the well-traveled punter. And the 49ers take too much time.
5-yard penalty.
And that'll cost them 5. No big deal here. They were hopeful the Giants would jump off, and they didn't.
Really an
25.
An uncharacteristic start for the 49ers. I mean, in reality, that drive ended because Jones dropped the ball. Maybe the most sure-handed core of receivers in the National Football League. And now an early penalty. This is not 49er football early.
Moshenko, who was waived the other day, and then Brett brought back the next day to Meggett at the 25, and Meggett brings it back to the 33. So it's an 8-yard run back. He's tackled by Bill Romanowski, and the Giants take over for the first time offensively. So the Giants with the new man on the left and the reserve on the right. It will be Hostetler starting at quarterback, and he is waiting for the moment as there is a flag down. Sims on the right.
Illegal receiver downfield, number 53 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty.
That was Bill Romanowski, and he is the man who made the tackle, and so the Giants are going to make the 49ers kick again.
And another 5 yards, and while the first 5 was not very significant, this one is. The Giants have a good opportunity to get field position right at midfield. But how many times, Dan, Al, have you watched the 49ers offensive team in recent years come out and not at least get one first down on that very first series?
Well, it's just so unusual to see them drop the ball. I mean, it's not unusual to see that pass dropped. An easy pass is dropped more often than you might think in the NFL, but rarely by Rathman and Jones and Rice and Taylor, the people the 49ers have.
Mosienko's last kick was 51, and this is not a thing of beauty. A bouncing kick, but it takes a good 49er roll. Meggett from the 32 comes back to the 37. Wesley Walls makes the tackle, and now here comes Jeff Hostetler. That kick by Mosienko, 49 yards. Jeff Hostetler had a fine preseason. A lot of people thought he would have to blow Sims away. He didn't. He played better than Sims in preseason, but not that much better. Anderson and Carthen, the running backs. Ingram and Baker, the wideouts, and Cross is the tight end. Elliott, Roberts just reported. Oates, the longtime center. Moore and Riesenberg. First down from the 37. And they give it as they open up with Lewis Tillman in a surprise, and not Otis Anderson. Tillman sparingly used last season, and he'll come right out as Anderson now comes in, and the Giants try to give the 49ers a different look. The 3-4, Holt and Fagan, are excellent ends. Gardner in the middle. Haley led the conference in sacks last year. He had 16. Davis and Griffin are the corners. Pollard is on injured reserve, hurt last week. Waymer and Bowles are the safeties. Todd Bowles, plan B pickup from Washington. 2nd and 11, and Otis Anderson, the MVP of the Super Bowl, out to the 39-yard line. The venerable former Cardinal, who's been with the Giants since '86, picks up 4 up to the 39-yard line, and it will be 3rd down and 7.
When you walk down on the field before the game, you would think that you were at Candlestick Park. That's how blustery and how cool it is here in New York over the Labor Day weekend. The factor there, I think, really favors the Giants, guys. With them having some late reporting guys, I don't know that stamina is going to be a factor tonight for guys like Roberts, Ingram, and Meggett.
Or like early November at the moment. 3rd down and 8. Hostetler out of the shotgun. Steps up and hits Meggett at the 45 for a Giant first down to the San Francisco 41. Bowles and Jackson make the stop. 20-yard gain.
Well, Dave Meggett picked up where he left off from last year. He can do so many things. That time he just circled out of the backfield underneath deep receivers. There he is, giving Hostetler time to get the ball to him. Good catch. The ball just a little bit behind him. But Meggett with a good pattern underneath, and Hostetler about ready to take off. He might have a year ago taken off and run that football. He's a little more disciplined now.
Jared Bunch, their #1 draft choice, is in motion. Number 33, he makes his debut out of Michigan. Hostetler fires, and at the 34, the pass is complete. Mark Ingram, one of those reporting just the other day, with his first reception of the season and a gain of 7.
Let's go right to work on Eric Davis. He is a starter now for Darryl Pollard, who was hurt last week against Seattle over in that left cornerback, and they will be trying to find him. He is a good athlete, and he might have possibly won that starting spot, but as it is, he won it because of Darryl Pollard going down with the injury to the leg.
2nd and 3, no score, 5 minutes into the game on opening night at Giants Stadium. Giants at the 34-yard line. Nothing there. Anderson hit by, or Tillman hit by Keith DeLong. DeLong is a guy who has come along, enough so that they found Matt Millen expendable, put him on plan B now with the Redskins, and Keith DeLong in his 3rd year out of Tennessee.
Well, they're getting out of DeLong what they drafted him for. He was a #1 draft choice back in '89, and you're right, Al, he has finally matured to the point where they're going to turn it over to him. And he's a, you know, at this stage of his career, he has a lot more range than Millen had and really fits the kind of flowing defense the 49ers play a lot better.
3rd and a short 4 out of the shotgun. And here's a case of Ingram just reporting the other day and lining up in the wrong spot, and he still doesn't know where to go.
Interesting to see where he does go.
Clock is down to 2. They get it off, a little shovel over to Meggett, and it's not the best looking play in the world, but it works for a first down.
I'll tell you, Ingram got a pretty good block on it. It wasn't one of the greatest blocks, but he cracked back. He had no clue what he was supposed to do, and Hostetler had to tell him.
Yeah, but you can see why they were a little concerned of him being on the wrong side.
He was the key man, and he was lined up on the wrong side until he got straightened out.
You don't see this very often, that big pitch out to a running back. It's a play that was popular back in the 50s and the 60s. Dave Meggett now looking like he's been in training camp since the first day.
And a Giants football anyway in the 50s and 60s. They just slug it out on offense and play great defense.
Not a lot of run and shoot and no huddle offense.
Nothing pretty and fancy.
1st and 10 at the 26, off the fake, and the punt. Baker wide open, but he's out of bounds. A beautifully executed play, and Baker had gotten free, but Baker was out of bounds.
Hostetler had him wide open. He led him to the outside.
Yeah, Baker was out of bounds because the ball was out of bounds.
He went for the ball. Hostetler had him so easily. Could have led it inside even. Kevin Fagan in there on Hostetler. Here it is again. Hostetler got away without an injury, and that could have been one. He was off balance, but he leads Baker out of bounds. Let's take a look at Fagan again. He's very quick, is Fagan. You think you have him, and all of a sudden he spins loose. Great in pursuit of the run. Both of the outside men, Holt and Fagan, play that way.
Fagan 9.5 sacks last year. 2nd down and 10 at the 26. 8:19 to go in the quarter. And here is Meggett, who finds 4 over the right side. Gets to the 22-yard line.
You know, the group in Philadelphia gets an awful lot of mention. Jerome Brown and Reggie White and Dwight Simmons and that whole Clyde Simmons, rather, that whole group there. But for my money, these 5 guys that play for the 49ers are the best defensive line in the league. The best 5 guys, if you're talking about Holt, Carter, Fagan, Roberts, and Haley, to me, I wouldn't exchange them for any other 5 defensive linemen in the league.
There's a good argument this man might be one of the best defensive players in the league. They use him every way. They put him on the card as a linebacker. They use him a great down in, and he chases everything out there.
3rd and 5. The Giants began this drive at the 36-yard line. Again out of the shotgun with Ingram in motion. Hostetler throws, hits Ingram, but he seeks the first down as he did in Tampa in the Super Bowl with a spin move back, but this time he is stopped by Kevin Lewis, who comes up to stop him a couple of yards shy of the first down, and in comes Barr in the field goal unit.
Good tackle by Lewis on Mark Ingram, a good athlete. He was a good all-around athlete at Michigan State, and he made a great move in that 3rd and 13 in the 3rd quarter of the Super Bowl. This time, Lewis stays right with him and forces the field goal team out.
Well, he hung on long enough for Jackson to come up and put the kabang on him.
35-yard field goal attempt. Barr trying for the 200th of his career. Hostetler with a hold, and the kick is good. And so all of the scoring for the Giants against the 49ers in the last 2 seasons has been done by that man, Matt Farr. 6:46 to go in the quarter. 3-0 Giants.
Brought down by Abrams, back on the field.
He is gone for 4 games. That's what happens when you go on IR.
Illegal block, number 81 on the return. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Dale Hamer tells us that Jamie Williams of the 49ers is the man responsible, and back the ball goes to the 10-yard line.
In fact, Al, you're out for 4 weeks if you go on IR after the beginning of the regular season. If you're one of those unlucky guys that went on IR during the preseason, you're out the entire year.
6:38 remaining in the first quarter. It's 3-0 Giants. Giants 45 yards in 10 plays to set up the 200th field goal of Barr's career. 49ers, who were 3 and out on their first possession, take over down 3-0. 6:38 to go in the quarter. And Young hands it to Spencer Tillman, who takes it to the 10-yard line. Tillman is in his 3rd season with the 49ers, and that's the first time he's carried the ball as a 49er. In his 5th year in the league, it's only the 16th time he has carried. He's been used on special teams a lot, but he may get a chance to develop out of the backfield this year. It's up to him because he has the opportunity. Lawrence Taylor. Who else? Second and 9. Tillman goes in motion. Rathman stays in the block. And Young's pass is dropped at the 21-yard line because Everson Walls was all over John Taylor.
Everson Walls has been around a while. In his 11th year, that's tough for a cornerback. He never was fast. But when you talk to the coaching staff, Ray Handley in particular, say he's just a wily, crafty veteran out there. He reads the formations. He seems to know what the receiver is going to do on every play.
He seemed to know what John Taylor had on inside his jersey. That was close coverage. That was close coverage by Everson Walls. Still looked like it was a catchable ball, though. I mean, it looked like that's a ball that John Taylor, even with the good coverage, could have caught. A very, very unusual beginning for the 49ers.
Al Grove, the Giants' new defensive coordinator, demonstrative on the sidelines as the Niners come up 3rd down and 9 from the 10-yard line. Henderson in motion. Young dancing, flag down. Young sacked at the 6. Taylor was in there, but there's a marker down on the play.
That's usually where the holding flag is dropped, though.
No, it goes the other way.
The other way.
Against Ray Handley's Giants.
Giants going with 2 down linemen and still able to get to Young. Illegal hands to the face. Number 93 for the defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that is Mike Fox. Again, we mentioned the Giants are a little short up front. Eric Dorsey went on injured reserve. He is gone. Eric Howard bothered with back spasms. Fox gets the start, and that's a big penalty.
Yeah, I think he's there to the right side of the screen. Yeah, you can see he's got his hands up in Roy Foster's face. Look at him bend his helmet all the way back. Oh, and here's the umpire. He's watching it all the way. That's the call, and boy, what a big, big break for the 49ers.
Automatic first down, so instead of punting from the end zone, they have a first down at the 15-yard line. Young over the middle, a high throw nearly picked off. A bad throw for Jones, who was left exposed, and Greg Jackson nearly picked it.
Oh, Jones made a great play on Greg Jackson to make sure that was not intercepted. Yeah, Jackson had his eyes right on it, and Jones puts a hand in and just strips the ball away from Jackson.
Yeah, watch what he gets, Frank, for his good efforts. Jones is going to get his clock cleaned here by Myron Guyton.
Look at him hang on, though. There'll be no catching that ball. And then Guyton unloads.
That was, you're right, a great job by Brent Jones, and he got very little for his trouble.
2nd and 10 at the 15, 5:21 remaining in the quarter. Harry Sidney is in the backfield. They send him into the pattern, and here is Young doing what he does so very well as he takes it out to the 26, and it's close to a first down. Mike Fox and Greg Jackson make the tackle. It is a first down.
Do either one of you guys notice a raising of the intensity level here from preseason?
Slightly. Just a mild.
Slightly is right.
Sidney out to the left flat, and it pulled Pepper Johnson, the linebacker, out there, and Young reads it right away. He'll not hesitate at all to pull that ball down and take off with it.
That was a nice effort, though, by Mike Fox getting back in there and making the tackle.
4:44 to go, first quarter, 3-0 Giants. Spencer Tillman is back in the game. He gets the ball. Tillman with a flag thrown, picks up 6 for the moment to the 32. Pepper Johnson makes the stop, but another flag from Hamer, and this time it's against the 49ers. George Seifert begins his 3rd season.
Holding, number 44, the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Tom Rathman.
Well, literal translation, I didn't do that.
Tom Rathman was the lead blocker. He just doing a simple kick out on Carl Banks, I believe, the linebacker to that side.
You get on that outside, you're so visible, and he was the outside man.
This has been a very sloppy start for San Francisco.
15-yard penalty back to the, or 10-yard penalty back to the 16, making it first down and 20. Young throws it out in the flat, caught by Tillman, nowhere to go. 2 Giants are there with no blocking, and Myron Guyton and Lawrence Taylor take care of him.
Yeah, Guyton all over the field. You know, we were talking to Bill Parcells at the Super Bowl, and we asked him about a player that he thought had really improved dramatically and was going to be a superb player, a great player maybe, and he picked out Myron Guyton without even hesitating, and he really has developed to come on, an 8th-round draft pick 3 years ago, and he and Jackson back there at safeties have become quite a combination. He's a hitter, and he can cover the tight end coming down. Got good size, 205.
2nd and 17 from the 19-yard line. Young protected well, throws underneath. That's Keith Henderson. He gets out to the 27. Gary Reasons makes the stop. We mentioned at the top the 49ers, as you look at Reasons and Steve Young, some different characters in the backfield. Young, of course, for Montana. With Craig gone, you've got the Hendersons and the Sidneys and the Tillmans, and somebody's going to have to develop to get that running game going.
Running back by committee, huh? Almost by situation, it seems.
You wonder if they're going to be able to do that for an entire football season.
Well, one guy they're looking forward to getting back is a rookie, Ricky Waters, out of Notre Dame, but he's on injured reserve. 3rd and 9 from the 27-yard line. 4 wideouts in, including Sanjay Beach, and Young goes deep, and it's Rice making the catch at the 40 as he had gotten free. And the first touchdown of the season for the San Francisco 49ers is 73 yards from Young to Jerry Rice.
Good timing. He split the 2 safeties we were talking about a moment ago, Jackson and Guyton. And Young was able to pick it up. He was under pressure, and he was also able to get it downfield.
I think Myron Guyton is going to be in a position to make a tackle on Jerry Rice, at least get in on the play. But Greg Jackson knocks him off of it. Well, Guyton is going to come over. Where's Guyton there on the left of your screen? He's going to start moving to the left. Now, he takes an angle that's, for some reason, he cuts off Jackson, and they collide with each other.
That's obviously totally blown coverage on the part of both of them.
But how do you explain Guyton, the guy who obviously has the deep coverage, Frank, taking an angle like that that's short? Boy, that's a major error.
Mike Cofer with the extra point. And so on 3rd and 9 from their 27, Young hits Rice, and that's the 80th touchdown reception of his career. 2:44 to go. First quarter, 7-3, 49ers. 3 is the score. So Steve Young, whose offense had been sputtering and stumbling at the start, all of a sudden the jackpot. And by the time this guy's career is finished, he's going to do to receiving records what Wayne Gretzky has done to hockey records. Not break them, destroy them.
100 receptions last year. Just keeps growing.
And he's had a few long touchdown backbreakers at the Meadowlands here. Remember a couple of years ago,
yes.
The long one down the sideline?
The kick to the goal line. Meggett brings it back to the 19.
Let's take another look at the touchdown if we could. There you see on the right side is Greg Jackson. On the left side is Myron Guyton. Watch his angle. Guyton's angle way underneath, and for some reason he doesn't take the right angle to play Jerry Rice. The 49ers have a 7-3 lead.
stuck. You see?
Yeah.
Every channel. Light beer, light beer.
Well, we're gonna have to drain it. Grab anything that'll hold beer. Oh, and call some friends over.
Will you look at that?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Miller Lite made beer better.
The great Pilsner taste keeps you ahead of it all.
Everybody likes that.
You don't say beer now, you say light.
Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 2:34 to go in the first quarter. 49ers 7, Giants 3. The Giants at the 20-yard line. First and 10. Otis Anderson, sole running back in this set. And a whistle before the inception of the play. A lot of penalties in the first quarter.
A lot of them.
Full start. Left guard. Offense. Please reset the clock. 2:34.
That's William Roberts, who just reported to camp the other day. These two guys, Seifert and Handley, were on the same staff at Stanford during two different stretches in the 70s as assistant coaches. And here they are meeting on opening night in '91, coaching the two teams that have won the last 3 Super Bowls. Meggett picks up 4 after the penalty had moved them back to the 15, up to the 19. Goes Dave. It'll be second down 11. Keith DeLong and Michael Walter make the stop. Hostetler guiding the Giants. Hostetler grew up in Pennsylvania. He was the valedictorian of his high school class, started his college career at Penn State, got frustrated there, and went to West Virginia. He got frustrated before Joe Paterno started to recruit quarterbacks who could throw 5 touchdown passes in a game. Second and 11. The fake to Anderson and the roll by Hostetler. And he throws along the near side at the 34. No catch. Out of bounds. Stephen Baker.
Here's a look at it from behind as he does so well running and throwing. Boy, that's a great effort by Baker to get down on the ground, but you can see the left knee slides out of bounds before he has possession of the football. Boy, that was a pretty darn good throw by Hostetler, running as fast as he was. Stephen, the touchdown maker, Baker.
Scored 1 in the Super Bowl. 3rd and 11 out of the shotgun. Hostetler looking for the first down and has it up at the 33-yard line. Odessa Turner, who was cut by the Giants and then brought back when Handley took over for Parcells, given another chance, and he picks up a first down. Kevin Lewis on the coverage.
He was given a chance again. He had a lot of knee problems, and this preseason he really made the most of it. He was the Giants' leading receiver, and he uses the sticks. He knows how far he has to go. He takes Kevin Lewis back, and you have to respect his speed. He's big, 6'3", 205, but he can fly. Lewis, respecting the speed, gave up the first down.
His numbers in the 4 preseason games. He picks up 14 there. First down, Giants at the 33. 1:15 to go in the quarter. Hostetler throws into a lot of traffic over the middle as he was chased by Romanowski. 2nd and 10. Well, next week, week 2 of the 1991 season, and we will be at Texas Stadium in Irving. The Redskins last night routing Detroit 45-0.
That was over in the first round.
Yeah, it wasn't that close.
Yeah, taking on the Cowboys, who come away with a victory on opening day in Cleveland. Second and 10. That much time left. First quarter. San Francisco up 7-3. Anderson breaks a tackle and then gets hit by DeLong and stopped near the line of scrimmage.
You talk about this San Francisco offense so much, and again, it's been the defense for the past few years that has carried them almost as much as this offense. They were 3rd overall in the NFL a year ago. They always have been there, though. They were 3rd in '88 overall. They were 4th in '89. third last year, and they were first 4 years ago. So they've just stayed right up on the top. Not a lot of great names that compete with Montana and Rice and Craig, but they have been superb.
And that's why they have been somewhat overlooked. Third down and 9 at the 34-yard line. Hostetler, who has to get it to the 43 for a first down, is up to the 35, the 40, and only to the 41, where Waymer comes up to make the hit. As the seconds wind down on what should be the final play of the first quarter. It'll be 4th down and 2. And the Giants want to punt in this direction because they've hustled out onto the field. The clock is ticking down. Here is Landeta. They want to get the snap off, and they do. They want to punt with what they feel is the prevailing wind. The kick is fielded at the 16-yard line by John Taylor. And Taylor runs it back to the 22. He's taken out of bounds there, and that's the end of the quarter. And there's a flag down up at the 34.
That's very dangerous. Try to hurry that with a return man like John Taylor. If you don't get your punt coverage team set just right, he's going to take it all the way back on you.
But I think this flag came down after the kick. I have a feeling it's something that happened during either the run back or while the ball was in the air. But boy, there could have been a half a second on that clock when they got that snap away. But if this is anything to do with the Giants, I think San Francisco would just soon see it done over.
Illegal use of the hands on a defense, grasping the face mask, number 99, 5-yard penalty on the return.
Well, it happened after the return was in progress, so it'll be tacked on the start of the second quarter.
It'll be the 49ers ball.
Well, the first quarter has come to a halt, 7-3. The 49ers on top. Look of a linebacker right there, Steve Diassi of the Giants.
His train doesn't stop at every station.
He was a Giant who got that penalty a moment ago.
Former Dallas Cowboy and one of the free spirits of the NFL.
Checking the Polaroids as the San Francisco defensive line looks at the Giants offensive alignment.
You have never looked
Checking
at one.
the enforcement of the prior foul.
And as we get ready to start the second quarter, they have moved the ball from one end of the field to the other, and Dale Hamer said we're just checking the enforcement
Please
of
set
the prior
clock
foul.
at 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
That always helps.
Yeah, seeing it's at 0.
And seeing it's the start of a quarter.
I know they're trying to speed up the games, but that's going overboard. We'll just play 45 minutes instead of 60.
George Seifert, third year as the successor to Bill Walsh. Each of his
foul was from the 22 to the 27.
Each of his first two clubs 14-2 in the regular season, and there are the numbers for the first 15 minutes of play.
The one thing that doesn't show there are penalties, and as far as the 49ers, that was one of their poorer quarters as far as mistakes, both penalty-wise and some drop passes thrown in there.
First and 10 from the 27-yard line. This is Henderson, who picks up 4 up to the 31. Mark Collins comes in to make the stop. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. And by Levi's Buttonfly 501 jeans. Dan has both of those products.
I like the 505s myself.
I'm a button fly, all right.
In the old days. With your old wide body.
And you got a button. No, never mind.
Second and 6 from the 31-yard line. This is Dexter Carter swinging to the outside. And Carter is taken out of bounds at the 31. He can't turn the corner. Carl Banks will get credit for the tackle.
And
third down.
And the reason he can't turn the corner is about 3 different guys take shots at Lawrence Taylor. One, they try to cut him. Okay, watch the block. There's Rathman going at the knees. He stays up. Here comes McIntyre. He hits him and he can't knock him down, and he strings it all the way out where Banks gets in on the play. It won't show up on the defensive stats anywhere, not even a half a tackle, but credit that one to LT.
Third and 6 from the 31.
Still a little football left there.
Jones, who was lined up wide in in motion. Young sacked at the 19. Marshall and Howard.
Frank and Al, I wonder if that's not a case where Steve Young has been overcoached to stay in the pocket. They've been trying to make a pocket passer out of this guy, and there is a deal where he should have taken off running with the football about 2 seconds before he gets sacked.
And more than making it out of him, Al, they talked to him so much about it. He's heard so much about it, read so much about it, and he just waited too long.
Oh, man.
That's just good coverage by the Giants downfield.
Yeah, but when there's that good coverage, a guy like Young ought to be gone.
Losienko has to move to the side to take the snap and then lofts one into the hands of Meggett at the 28-yard line. Oh, and he is brought down at the 35.
It's another flag all the way back upfield.
Mitch Donahue made the tackle. There's a marker down. Back at the 26 for an ineligible man downfield.
Giants with the top punt return man in the NFC from a year ago, Dave Meggett. They'd like to see him kick it again.
Members of the kicking team, more than one, illegally downfield, 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
The first guy who was gone, I think, was Wesley Walls, the snapper. He not only tossed an errant snap, but he took off early as well.
I think early in the season you see more penalties with special teams because a lot of the special teams members are the younger players and the rookies, and especially so in San Francisco's case.
A lot of players have been cut that have been playing special teams too during the course of the preseason, and all of a sudden you've got a lot of changes. You got new personnel, and that's going to carry through the season.
And really, it's the bad snap. It throws Mozienko over 2 steps, causes a second delay. Everybody leaves on timing.
And this is another bad snap, but he comes down with it and nearly has it blocked. Meggett takes it at his own 49-yard line and runs it back to the San Francisco 43-yard line as Renee Thompson came in and nearly blocked it. 36-yard punt, 8-yard return.
Well, the best special teams player in the league is Renee Thompson. Ooh, and he almost kick-started the Giants there. Barely missed it. You can say you heard it here first.
Giants 1st and 10 at the 44. Maurice Carthen takes it to the 42-yard line with 13 minutes to go in the first half, and the 49ers on top 7-3.
It's funny, all the penalties that the 49ers have had thus far in the ball game. The key penalty in the entire game is the penalty against Mike Fox of the Giants, the hands to the face, because that kept that 49er drive alive. That ended up with that Jerry Rice touchdown pass.
On a 3rd and 9, so 73 yards. Anderson and Meggett are in the backfield. Hostetler look for Anderson, now has room to roam, gets by Romanowski, and a big gain to the 17-yard line.
He not only can run, he can fly. His great speed. And 49ers were caught not keeping somebody home to keep track of Hostetler. He looks downfield. Big opening now. He's coming up the field as Pierce Holt. He cuts back inside. Now he really turns it on, and he has superb speed.
Well, what's really frustrating for San Francisco is he just did that on it. He wasn't even flushed. That was great pass blocking by the Giants offensive line. Hostetler just took off because he saw nobody to throw to.
25-yard gain, 1st down, New York at the 17 with a double slot to the right, and Anderson going to the right, and he is dragged down by Eric Davis, who gets some help at the end, but Davis comes up from the corner, and we talked about him earlier, a guy who's going to fill some big shoes this year with Pollard gone for the season.
2 major changes in that secondary. Ronnie Lott, of course, gone. Dave Waymer taking over to the lead here at free safety, and Eric Davis over in that critical left corner spot where you not only get a lot of man coverage with the 49ers, but you also got to come up and play a lot of run.
2nd and 9 at the 16. That's Jared Bunch in motion. Hostetler protected well, throws to Cross, and Cross is to the half-yard line.
Howard Cross is no Mark Pavaro in terms of hands.
Well, Frank, the key to this play is San Francisco has their best pass rusher in Charles Haley, actually in pass coverage that time against Cross.
Haley only caught 5 passes a year ago, and he always gets linebacker coverage. You're right, and Haley basically is linebacker, but they picked it up and they hit him.
Haley's the guy 94 there. I would rather have chasing the quarterback than back in coverage on my tight end.
They may be looking to see if Cross crossed the plane of the goal line as time is called.
As reported as an eligible receiver. 66.
William Roberts, the announcement made that he is an eligible receiver here, but
that's on the upcoming play.
Right. If there is an upcoming play, they may give the Giants 6 here. Heberling is looking at it upstairs.
That's Chuck Heberling in the middle, the former NFL referee, and he's our replay official.
Where's the knee? The knee is down long before the ball breaks the plane.
Well, that's there's the elbow down with the ball. I mean, I don't see any way they're going to give him a touchdown.
No way.
Especially with it being ruled on the field down at the 1.5 yard line.
After further review, the play stands. First and goal on the 1-foot line.
Actually, I would say that that football was perfectly spotted by the official.
Howard Cross noted more for blocking than receiving, but he gets the big play there.
Here's Anderson, and he is in for the touchdown.
And that guy has been there before. And lo and behold, where does he go? Over left guard and left tackle. Really credit the key block in there, Bardotes and Bob Cratch.
You know, this is what the Giants have not been able to do to the 49ers in the past couple of games. Get it in when they got down there. 5 field goals in the NFC Championship game, and mainly because of the defense. This time they cracked the goal line.
And Barr with the extra point. So in 2 games last season, the Giants could not get it into the end zone against the 49ers, but they do here with 10:05 to go in the half to take the lead.
Big play. Hostetler coming out of the pocket with a big first down.
Well, we're here to do I'm doing a run of the bulls in my Levi 501. I've heard horror stories of people being killed, maimed, gored, trampled, stomped, run over, bulldozed, bum rushed. I'm gonna have to run fast. The 6th bull's running today. Trumposo, I guess that means he tramples people. This one of them? Prisionero, he takes no prisoners. This is not a beer commercial, get out of here. When that second rocket hits, you gotta start to...
Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf. Opening night at Giants Stadium. The Giants going 44 yards, 5 plays. Anderson takes it in from inside the 1. New York leads 10-7. 10:05 to go in the half. Barr to put it in the air. To the goal line to Dexter Carter. Back to the 19. Jared Bunch is in on the stop, number 33.
Guys, one thing we'll just make a mental note of. The last time the Giants, they were in that goal line formation, they took Jumbo Elliott and put him over on the opposite side, clear over playing right tackle. They unbalanced the line. They only had Cratch at left guard and then Howard Cross actually playing tackle. We'll have to see if how that comes into play next time they go into a short yardage formation.
And I think it just reflects back on last year, Dan, when they just couldn't get that ball in from inside the 10.
Yeah, they're trying something new and different, and hey, it worked.
49ers begin at the 20. 1st and 10. Keith Henderson, who has been injured a lot in his first 2 seasons, but has a chance to have an impact, stopped by Fox and Howard. And again, the 49ers looking for somebody to emerge to help that running game.
Well, there was a lot of talk about Bobby Humphrey and the talented running back that's still holding out in Denver, and talk of him going to San Francisco among other places. There's no doubt that George Seifert would like to have a running back of that caliber. I don't know that he can go all season with this group unless somebody really, as you say, Al, steps to the line and ends up being better than they look now.
2nd and 6 from the 24. Young throws. This is Henderson making the catch. He takes it up to the 29, a little short of the first down. Pepper Johnson makes the tackle. Pepper Johnson, his real first name is Thomas. His aunt nicknamed him when he was 5 years old. He sprinkled pepper on cereal, so he was exhibiting linebacker tendencies at a very early age.
It could be for the way he plays too, Al. He's really an emotional player. He is real peppery. He's all over the football field. He's patting fannies, kicking fannies. He's getting everyone on the move.
3rd and 1 from just inside the 29-yard line. Henderson in motion. And Young to throw to Rathman, and Rathman has the first down. Everson Walls comes up to make the hit, and that's something they did a lot a couple of years ago, going to Rathman. They came off it a little bit last year, and they'll put him back in their passing game in 91.
Still as fine a blocker and as big as he is. He had 48 receptions a year ago, so they use him well, and they use him in the really high percentage stuff. And the 49ers kind of going back to that. A few moments ago, they came at the crossing back underneath Henderson. Now they go out on the flat. It's almost like it's ball control passing is what it is.
A little athleticism involved there too, the way Rathman left his feet and stretched that ball out, making sure he was good enough for the first.
2 years ago, he caught 73 passes at the 32-yard line. Here's Young throwing, and open at the 42-yard line is Sherrard. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
I think they got Roy Foster. He dragged one of the Giants down to the ground, and the referee, Dale Hamer, threw it in there.
Lawrence Taylor, I believe, is putting the pressure on.
Yeah.
Holding. Yeah. Number 67, the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
They move LT inside right over the top of Roy Foster, and LT takes that knife to the inside.
And he doesn't complain anymore. He gets held on almost every play. He'll tell you that. Look at this.
Well, I never met a defensive player that didn't talk about being held on every play. They all think they're held on every play. On that time, he was right.
We know which side you played on.
Yeah, he had a legitimate beef, and Dale Hamer saw it.
6th penalty against the Niners. 7:17 to go in the half. Giants 10, 49ers 7.
Just because you play golf with him, Frank, doesn't mean you have to take his side. You're an offensive player.
1st and 20. Here is Dexter Carter, and he runs right into Greg Jackson as he crosses the 25-yard line. Eric Howard also there to help out.
You know you can't trust those guys.
Offensive players. Oh, I played defense, Dan. I just learned early where the dollars were.
Yeah, well, you haven't forgotten.
The dollars, nor have you. You've learned quickly since you got out of it. For you, Frank, the dollars have been up here.
Yeah.
I hate to admit that's so true. I'd be embarrassed to tell you what I got.
Speaking of up here, Craig Janoff gives us a case of vertigo here from the blimp. Ooh, I got to sit down.
2nd and 16 from the 26. Young, Taylor, a great catch by Taylor, who reaches out, catches it off his fingertips at the 35-yard line, stopped by Jackson. John Taylor.
And that's without stickum. That's even John likes that. That's
well, the catch was great, but holding on to it after he gets hammered by Jackson.
I like the catch.
Right on the fingertips. Look at this. Whack.
That's all right. That's all right.
There are two more dangerous outside receivers in combination than Taylor and Rice. Rice gets all the ink, all the publicity, and deservedly so. 100 receptions a year ago, but Taylor scares defensive coordinators to death. You double up on Rice, Taylor's going to find himself 101.
3rd and 7 from the 36. 5:35 to go in the half. Giants by 3. Young, they have to get to the 43, and he can't get it into the hands of Jerry Rice. Incomplete. And the 49ers are forced to kick.
Rice was there. Young just a little slow getting it in there. He's in between giant defenders.
I think that was really a coverage that screwed things up for the 49ers. I think Pepper Johnson had dropped back far enough that he really interfered with Rice and where he wanted to be and where Young thought he was going to be. Give a lot of that credit there to the Giants.
Ralph Mosienko, former Charger, former Redskin. Line drive caught by Meggett at the 29.
Look out.
Swings back to the outside and is run out of bounds up at the 40-yard line. Chased out by Darren Jordan.
Oh, he has some weapon, Dave Meggett. He's not big, but he is so effective, not only returning punts as a receiver, a running back. Great little offensive machine, Dave Meggett at 5'7", 180.
And with 5:18 to go in the half, the Giants have it 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. And Hostetler gets sacked by Kevin Fagan, who comes flying in. He had 9.5 of them last year, and he virtually comes in untouched as he takes care of Hostetler.
Confusion on the left side. John Elliott, who's lined up across from him, is going to let him go and look to the outside. Otis Anderson is there, but there's some confusion. Obviously, Elliott thought Anderson was going to block him, and it didn't appear that Anderson thought he was going to block him.
When they brought Romanowski, Elliott moved out to the outside to pick up the blitzing linebacker, and Anderson just blew it.
Well, that's kind of an odd trade there. I'd rather have my big man on their big man and let Anderson take Romanowski.
I'm changing virtually untouched to clearly untouched. This is Tillman. Well, you all heard about Randall Cunningham, injured yesterday. We'll get to that as we move along in this one. Marcus Allen also, it's reported today, it will be out for a month and a half. Sprained ligament, right knee. And the Raiders, who had a bevy of running backs, all of a sudden are minus him. And of course, Bo Jackson will not be with them at least for a while, if at all, but he is playing tonight in Chicago. Jackson is 0 for 3, 2 ground outs and a pop out, with the White Sox leading his ex-mates, the Royals, 3-1 in the 7th inning. So Bo is back, but not for Al Davis. On 3rd and 13, it's Meggett, who gets past the 40 and then upended at the 43-yard line by Eric Davis, and the Giants are forced to punt.
That's good open field tackle by Eric Davis, again, who's filling in tonight for Darryl Pollard. Fine tackle.
Although, remember, going back to the Bo Jackson thing for a moment, when we talked to Art Shell when we had the Raiders in the preseason, he said, Bo Jackson told me that if he got back well enough to play baseball, that he was going to play football. So the Raiders optimistically are expecting Bo Jackson.
Well, I'm not going to say Bo can't do something, because, you know, he's out to prove everybody wrong, but if you've seen him limping on the tape,
you have to wonder.
After what happened in Houston, he'd better hurry.
You notice I said the Raiders optimistically are hoping for Bo Jackson.
Sean Landetta to punt. John Taylor calls for a fair catch and brings it in at the 19-yard line. 49er football there after a 38-yard Landetta boot. With 3:12 remaining in the first half at Giants Stadium. Steve Young, well, outside of that one pass to Jerry Rice, it has not been a scintillating first half for him.
Well, and he hasn't had a lot of help either. I mean, there have been drop passes, penalties. It's just been not the 49er team that we saw in the preseason or last year. It's unusual for them.
From the 19-yard line, Young hits the tight end Jones. Up at the 24-yard line, Perry Williams and Gary Reasons make the stop.
Neither team seemingly to get in the kind of gear they want to get into. The 49ers keep going back to their underneath passes, their ball control type passing game, and there is Joe Montana. I had an interesting conversation with him last night, and we'll let you hear part of that at halftime, talking about his future. It's tough, I think, for Steve Young. I don't care whether he's in uniform or not. The fans of the 49ers have got to be comparing everything he does with what Joe might have done, and the same goes with Hostetler, with Phil Simms as a backup quarterback on the sidelines.
2nd down and 5. Here's Henderson swinging to the outside. Turns nothing into a little something. Everson Walls makes the stop. We talked about a Randall Cunningham before, as you watch Montana on injured reserve. And Randall Cunningham, I'm sure many of you saw this happen yesterday in the game against Green Bay. He went down. He didn't think he was seriously hurt at first, but it was official today. 2 ligament tears. Probable surgery. I say probable only because Randall wants to be checked out by his personal physician and by Dr. Frank Jobe in Los Angeles, so he's on his way to the coast.
Well, we wish him the very best. He's certainly one of the great ones.
2-minute warning. Old refrain.
That's not Tony Bennett.
No.
If you're wondering.
It's not Tony Bennett, T-O-N-I either. The Big Apple.
A spectacular day here in New York. Temperature here in the 60s tonight, dropping into the 50s.
3rd and 2 at the 2-minute warning from the 27-yard line as Steve Young has it knocked down.
I think Fox got that one, didn't he?
All of it.
6-6. Mike Fox filling in for Eric Dorsey on the defensive left end. 49ers trying to bring Rathman across.
Blocking a pass for a defensive lineman is kind of a bittersweet experience, because by and large it means you never got off the line of scrimmage. Normally a guy blocks the pass, it's because he's getting the you-know-what blocked out of him on the line of scrimmage and has a chance to see the ball and jump up and knock it down.
Ralph Mosienko takes the snap at his 12, and this is his best kick of the night. A beauty. Meggett backs up to the 18. And it's a 13-yard return as he takes it back to the 31, stopped by Rathman after a 55-yard kick by Mosienko. 1:45 remaining in the half, and the Giants have all of their timeouts at their disposal.
And we talk about Hostetler really winning the quarterback derby in preseason. A very fair contest by Ray Hanley, the new head coach, and there's still a lot of Giant fans that felt that he made a mistake, should have gone with Phil Simms, and everything he does is going to be questioned. But Hanley said, I will not take him out of the game if he goes bad. I'm going to go with him. So he knows he's going to get a chance to go either way and also come back.
On first down, it's Baker splitting the secondary inside the 30, tackled at the 20 by Waymer.
And I'll tell you what, that's aggressive play calling by the New York Giants. They've got a 3-point lead. They're going to get the ball to open up the second half, and there had to be some questioning by the coaching staff. Should we just run out the clock and go to the locker room and be happy with our 3-point lead? But no, they're going to go for it. Baker is wide open, and Hostetler throws a beautiful pass.
47-yard game. Timeout, Giants. Parcells, he was the man entrusted with clock management and usage of timeouts. He's got a brilliant mind, mathematically inclined, and he has called a timeout here with 1:26. He has 2 more remaining. First down to the 22-yard line. Hostetler firing and incomplete, intended for Cross. Cross blanketed on the play. Mike Walter, the linebacker, staying back there with him.
Jim Fossil, the quarterback coach, who Hanley really relies on a great deal, is up in the booth. He is talking to Hanley on the sidelines. Phil Simms is also there, and Phil Simms is watching the coverage for Hostetler, and there is the Giants coaching staff. There's Earhart on the left, Ron Earhart, and there is Bruni, the defensive coordinator. Sepsic is up there, and the new quarterback coach, Jim Fossil. But Phil Simms will watch the defense after the play, and he'll let Haas know whether he's made the bad move.
2nd and 10 from the 22. Hostetler throws, and there's good coverage again as Griffin is all over Stephen Baker.
All right, the Meadowlands crowd expressing their displeasure at not seeing a flag thrown. That was pretty tight coverage by Don Griffin. Needless to say, it was sensational coverage. If there's no flag, that look is deceiving because Baker's moving back towards the ball as well. No flag, though. It was awful good.
1:17 to go in the half. 3rd and 10 at the 22. Giants on top by 3 from the gun. 3 receivers to the right, and now they send Ingram this way. Hostetler stepping up inside the 20, gets it to the 13. He's close to a first. Fagan makes the stop, and it depends here clearly, as you can see on the spot. Hanley says, give me a timeout anyway. It is a first down.
Yeah, Hamer signaled first down. He's down there, the only one of the officials that was giving the signal. Keith DeLong, number 59 there, is going to run right by Hostetler. He's in man coverage with Meggett. You see him right there? He could have made that tackle, but he's locked up in man coverage on Meggett. And
Thank you.
There's just a little sidebar what a guy like Dave Meggett can do. He pulls a guy right out of where Jeff Hostetler went.
And a good scrambling quarterback is much more effective when you get man-for-man coverage, because you do get your men locked up on the receivers. They're looking at the receiver, not even watching the quarterback. And that time Hostetler, who is so good coming straight up the middle, gets the first down.
All right, now the last time the Giants were down here, they went to Howard Cross, who got him down to the half-yard line. And remember on that play, Charles Haley was the guy who ended up covering Cross. Let's see if the Giants want to see if that can happen again, and if it does, they might go to this guy. But if I'm the 49ers, I send Charles Haley after Jeff Hostetler.
That's Cross lining up as the tight end on the right side.
And that's Haley on top of him.
Yep, and it's Meggett going in motion that way. Haley's back in pass coverage. Walter chases Hostetler, who just throws it away. And Cross winds up at the end being covered by Todd Bowles.
And Hostetler got smacked.
Mike Walter, the big linebacker, unloading on Hostetler. Again, we talked about the difficulty the Giants had getting it in when they got down in the scoring range against the 49ers a year ago.
They have thrown on every down here with a 2nd and 10 and with 58 seconds left on the clock. I wouldn't be afraid to run the ball in this situation.
2nd and 10. They split Meggett to the left. 58 seconds remaining. Hostetler going the other way to the corner of the end zone. No! Mark Ingram was out.
I think he got one in. Looked like he got one, but the other one was way out.
Boy, a good look from our camera on that coverage, how accurate Hostetler had to be, even though it's out of bounds. Take a look now to see. This comes down with the 1 foot inbounds. There's the left foot.
It's
not even
barely
close.
Yeah.
Well, that was Griffin on the coverage.
Nice catch by Ingram.
Oh, wasn't that a
good hand?
Well thrown ball.
3rd down. 10 at the 12. 52 seconds remaining in the half. Hostetler keeps and only gets to the 11, so they bog down at the end and will have to settle for a 3-point attempt. Pierce Holt makes the tackle.
I think that was a design play with Hostetler carrying the ball.
And now Hanley's going to let the clock run down here. If anybody's going to stop it, it's going to be San Francisco to conserve some time on the other end, and they are not inclined to do so.
If that was a design play, Frank, if I was the assistant coach that designed it, I wouldn't have initialed the page.
Well, I think it's Hostetler's option to do it. He took about a 3-step drop, and I think he thought he was going to see an opening that he didn't get.
You know, this is an interesting move here by Seifert, not taking the timeout. You know the Giants are going to kick the field goal. The Giants not take the timeout. They wanted to take, obviously, as much time off the clock, but you wonder if Seifert would have done that if he had Montana healthy.
Well, he was dealing with 30-plus seconds, and you raise a valid point, Al. I mean, you really do, about whether or not Montana would have been, you know, if he'd have been more comfortable with Joe Montana trying to do something in 35, 38 seconds. That's still not a lot of time.
I think what Seifert is saying is, hey, let's get back and reassess this first half and come out with the second half plan.
Well, his assessment will be a pretty good chewing for his club. They haven't played well.
So Barr comes in.
This guy's a fixture in a Giant 49er game, isn't he?
Yeah. In fact, Barr spent a brief part of his career in the early 80s, 4 games with San Francisco before he was dealt to Cleveland, and after he played for Pittsburgh. This is a 28-yard attempt by Barr, and it's good. And that is the half, and that was not a good snap, but a nice hold by Hostetler. So that's the way the half ends. An interview with Montana coming up. The first half is history. The Giants lead it 13-7, and back we come with our halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our 8.
You do come back in 4 weeks. Elbow's fine. And Steve is doing a bang-up job. What would be the situation between the two of you?
Well, I don't know. You hear so many different reports, and in my conversations, that when I come back, I'm sure George will evaluate it at that point, but you know, I've been told that, you know, I would probably just go back into my normal position, but you know how that goes. You never know until it happens. So.
Joe, it's been great for you. I remember when you came up all those years ago, and it's been fun watching what's happened to Joe Montana, and you've handled it so beautifully. Are there thoughts in your mind about where you would like to call it in, say that's enough, and I've given all I've got?
Well, yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, yes. I really can't see an end. You know, I was just reading an article about Jimmy Connors, and you know, he kind of has the same kind of point of view as the fact that athletes' career ends real early in your lifetime, and there's no coming back to it once it's really over. And you know, so he's going to make it last as long as he can because he enjoys it, and that's the way I feel. I enjoy this game, and somebody else is going to have to tell me that I can't come back anymore because most likely I won't.
Mm-hmm. Any plans for the future beyond football?
Well, I take the approach that when I start thinking about after football, you kind of take away from your focus about football. So right now, I have this approach of it'll take care of itself after. I'll have plenty of time to think about it and make that decision later. Right now, I want to be 100% focused on playing football. I don't want it to slip away because my mind was somewhere else. As you know, for a quarterback, a lot of this game is mental, and the minute your mind is somewhere else, you find yourself in trouble on the field.
Whenever it is, though, 5 years from now or whatever, it'll only be 5 more years until it's Canton, Ohio, and that's for sure. But I mean, how would you like to be remembered as Joe Montana, quarterback of the 49ers?
God, it's hard thinking about how you want people to remember you. I don't think of being remembered, I guess. I enjoy so much of the moment of the game that it'd be fun to be standing up there making a speech which I hate to do, but it would be fun just to remember it as part of the winning tradition of the San Francisco 49ers.
And the winning quarterback in Super Bowl 26.
Taken at the goal line by Dave Meggett as the second half gets underway. Meggett squirms to the outside and is tackled up at the 18-yard line by David Whitmore, the former Giant, picked up by the Niners in Plan B. And let's take a look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes of play. And the 49ers have a lot of yardage in the passing area, but 73 of those 105 on the one play.
And a good recovery by the Giants. Look at that, almost 200 yards in total offense in the first half. And typical of both of these clubs, no turnovers yet in this ball game.
Giants have rushed for 75 yards against a team that was rated the second best against the rush a year ago.
At the 19-yard line. On first down, Otis Anderson to 6. Stopped by Mike Walter. Dan mentioning no turnovers. Last year, the Giants became the first team in the history of the NFL to go through a season and average less than 1 turnover per game. They made only 14 in 16 games. And you compare that to the Rams yesterday alone turned the ball over 7 times in one afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you how they do it. I mean, Hostetler last year had 1 interception and 87 tosses, but Phil Simms only threw 4 interceptions in 311 tosses. No wonder they have that ratio.
And only 1 turnover in the playoffs.
I mean, that's just quality work. And Simms has his helmet on. Ray, let me go in, please. Just what an awkward feeling this must be for Phil Simms, who hasn't come out of the bullpen in a long time.
Went down in the 14th game against the Buffalo, leading the NFC at the time.
Frank, I know you were surprised like I was. We came from the old school that said, you know, you just don't lose your job because of injury.
Last play was a 2-yard gain by Tillman. It's 3rd and 2, and the Giants come up in the gun. Hostetler from the 27-yard line. 49ers rush 5, and Hostetler throws on the run to a wide-open Ingram, who had gotten inside Davis. And Ingram breaks a tackle at the 42 and is finally spun down there by Don Griffin, who chased him across the field.
Let's go back and talk about that decision, Hostetler over Simms. One of the things that kicked around in my mind was maybe with the unsettledness of the Giant offensive line with Roberts and Elliott coming in late, maybe Ray Handley thinks that mobility is a factor early in the season, especially opening with the 49ers. And here's a classic illustration of that. Hostetler is flushed on the run. He finds Ingram and gets a nice completion out of it. You think that could have been part of his thinking? Maybe I need a mobile guy early.
I think it was a big part of his thinking, but you also saw Hostetler's ability to deliver the ball on the run.
That was a 30-yard gain. Here's Anderson for 2, stopped by Charles Haley at the 41-yard line.
You know, when they name Haas starting quarterback, Roberts isn't in camp yet. Elliott is just coming in, and the offensive line is completely unsettled. As we look at Charles Haley here, one of the great pass rushers in this game, and playing the run pretty effectively. Gets to the outside and gets in for a piece of the tackle.
He missed last week with the flu against Seattle, but he is a force out there.
The pride of James Madison.
Maurice Carthen, who's been sparingly used, is in motion and lays down a block for Tillman, who takes it to the 37-yard line. A gain of 3, and setting up a 3rd and 4. Eric Davis makes the stop.
Tillman, the leading rusher for the Giants in preseason, averaging 5 yards per carry. A slashing type runner out of Jackson State, who really was given a great opportunity in this preseason. I think we're going to see a lot of him with the Giants this year. Broke so many of Peyton's record down at Jackson State while he was there.
He's more along the lines of the unguided missile, isn't he?
Oh, he looks for somebody to hit.
3rd and 4 at the 37. Giants up by 6, 11:20 to go in the 3rd quarter. Hostetler over the middle, intended for Ingram, but a bad pass, and he's lucky that Don Griffin didn't come away with it.
That might have bruised Griffin's chest. Boy, that Don Griffin had a chance to really get his club out of the bacon here, and drops an easy interception. I don't know. Looked like there was some confusion. Again, look at Ingram. Looked like he pulled up a little short. This is a guy that's only had 2 practices before having to play in an NFL game, and it looked like he didn't finish his route.
And earlier, Dan, you saw him obviously confused on a pitch out play when he had to get his assignment from Hostetler.
You maybe don't need an entire training camp, all 6 weeks of it, but you need more than a couple days.
A week could help.
Giants are looking for a delay of game penalty because Landetto could use the extra 5 yards here. And now if the 49ers decline the penalty, that's the probable course of action, you would think, because if a team is going to look for the penalty, why give it to them?
I know Sean's also rather dramatic. He likes the show, likes the stage, but he also, if he gets backed up now,
game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
His numbers can be better, Al. I mean, if he kicks from in there, the numbers won't be quite so good.
Well, here's a little mind game now. Seifert says, okay, I will take the penalty, which is odd. You don't see that very often, but he said, okay, push him back another 5. So both teams are happy the way it turns out.
That's what we want, isn't it?
Yeah. John Taylor is back, calling for a fair catch, and he makes it at the 13-yard line.
Did you say Renee Thompson? He was inside of Taylor just in case Taylor would let it bounce, so he would not let it go into the end zone. He's a great.
Seifert's going to say, hey, if I wouldn't have taken the penalty, we'd be back at the 3.
The 49ers' best running back may be Steve Young. He's carried once tonight for 10 yards, and the rest of the real running backs 7 times for 17 yards. So nothing on the ground for the 49ers as they take possession for the first time in the half at the 13-yard line, and send Mike Sherrard in motion. Young with great coverage by Everson Walls for the interception at the 33.
Oh, that was a terrible pass, though.
There comes a flag in late. Steve Wallace and Carl Banks were involved in something. Guy McIntyre there as well, but that's after the play. That's not going to impact that interception at all.
Oh, Walls had the coverage underneath. He had deep help.
Oh, they're going to call holding now against. Boy, they're going to call holding against the Giants. Was that the signal?
No, they call that against Walls. I don't think so. I think it's after the play.
Well, I
think he said personal foul, I think.
Boy, he grabbed the arm and held on to it. Clear this up, Dale.
Personal foul. Number 58. After the interception. First down, Giants.
Carl Banks, the personal foul, but again, Steve Young trying to throw into double coverage. Walls underneath. He had deep help, and he was just laying for that, maybe making it even look like it was man for man, and Steve tried to go deep with it, and Walls just stepped in front and picked it off, and it maybe was made to look a lot worse than it actually was. Walls a very, very smart cornerback. That's why he's out there, not because of his physical skills. He just is a very canny player. And I think he gave Steve Young a look of man for man, and Young bought it.
At the 47-yard line, Hostetler swings it out to Jared Bunch, the #1 draft choice out of Michigan, the big bruising fullback, and I mean big and bruising with capital B's, tackled by Don Griffin.
It was about 250, and good hands. He was a good receiver in Michigan.
Well, they've been doing that a lot during this game, splitting Bunch all the way out there. Part of that is to spread the defense, but it's also a chance to split a guy out there. I mean, you've seen Philadelphia do it with a big back, a guy like Byers. Put a guy out there who's got some good hands and put him in a one-on-one situation.
His first NFL reception. 10:20 to go in the quarter. Giants up by 6, 2nd and 8. Here's Anderson, breaks a tackle in the backfield and picks up 5, taking it to the 40, where it will be 3rd down and 3. Walter and DeLong on the stop. Giant Stadium on a sparkling September night. Temperature near 70 degrees, just perfect.
A lot of changes here at Giant Stadium. New 50% ownership by Bob Tisch. A lot of people think that he maybe just came out of the blue. Of course, a very successful businessman, but I can remember Bob Tisch on the bench when I was playing with the Giants back in the 50s and 60s. I'm a Giants fan, and this is a dream come true for Bob Tisch to be part of this Giants organization.
3rd and 3 at the 40. Play clock is down to 3, and Anderson picks up 1, takes it to the 39. So that penalty against Banks after the interception was pretty key here, because the Giants are out of field goal range. So you're looking at a punt instead of a field goal right now on a 4th down and 2 at the 39-yard line.
That was just a total stuff job at the point of attack.
Well, you can see that Hostetler was shaken up by that.
Well, I mean, you know, the option here was 4th and a yard to go ahead and go for it.
How many times we see Parcells go for a 4th and short over the years?
That's the type of a play that Parcells might have gone for, but it's tough to argue this logic.
Well, Gary Reasons is uptight. What they do in the NFC Championship game?
Big play. It's 4th and it's closer to 2. And again, the Giants are saying, can we take the extra 5 yards? And Seifert says,
all right, but now there's a situation where if I'm the Giants, I don't let the clock run out.
Well, you get a penalty.
That's exactly right, Frank. I go ahead and punt the ball rather than taking the 5-yard penalty.
Offense.
In case San Francisco commits some kind of a foul that gives me a 1st down.
But they did decline it, so they still will have the option if Frisco gets a 5-yard foul, and they can pick up the 1st down.
Well, you see, here's a situation where San Francisco, in this case, might have been better off to take it. You know, an offsides here will give the Giants a 1st down. I don't understand the logic on either side.
Somebody's offside, they'll get cut.
Landeta's pooch kick is pooched out at the 10.
And he works on that all the time, and he's so good at it. He usually gets it inside the 5.
8:11 to go, 3rd quarter. To 7. As on the 1st and 10, Dexter Carter can't get to the outside. Greg Jackson throws him down. And Frank talked about the change in ownership. And on the left is Robert Tisch, co-owner along with Wellington Mara.
T.J. Mara, a longtime friend and part of the Mara family, representing his mother and sister.
That's right.
His 50%.
Button-net coat, Bob.
Button-net
coat, yeah.
Okay. Looking for the makeup lady.
Nice to have your $75 million. Just say, hey, I want to be part of that. Something I've followed for so many years.
2nd and 10 from the 10. Young flushed out, takes off, and really takes a pop up at the 22 from Myron Guyton, but should have the 1st down. Perry Williams is there as well.
Just slipping away from Lawrence Taylor. Taylor coming on the blitz and almost collared Steve Young. Watch it coming from the outside.
He's working against Steve Wallace, the left tackle. Now Wallace runs him upfield.
Ooh.
Oh. But Steve Young, a big quarterback. I mean, a little over 200 pounds, and once LT gets by him, and even though that's a pretty good shot, Young gets up unfazed.
First down at the 22-yard line. 7 minutes to go in the quarter. And Henderson exploits a huge hole up to the 36-yard line. We talked about Keith Henderson earlier. He's been hurt a lot. In fact, at practice last night, the 49er team physician down on the field said, oh, yeah, he's my good buddy. He's in here all the time.
Also talked earlier about the Giants having trouble with their defensive line. Eric Howard, the good run defensive end, number 77. He's not here. He's on IR. Eric Howard is playing on and off with a bad back tonight.
Well, they want Henderson to show some toughness, and he has a chance, as I mentioned before, to emerge as they look for that big back. At the 35-yard line, here is Dexter Carter, who picks up 4, and for the first time tonight, the 49ers show an inkling of a running game as Banks and Johnson converge on the stop. 49ers tonight have been pinned deep by the Giants, and they have started their drives deep in their own territory. The best starting field position, their own 27-yard line.
Have they even crossed the 50 other than the touchdown pass? I don't think they've even been in Giants territory except for Rice's touchdown.
I think you might be right. This drive started at their own 10. 2nd and 6. Young with time. Young over the middle. This is Rathman who takes it to midfield.
And across the 50.
Yep.
Good protection for Young. That took an awful lot of time for Rathman to circle out of the backfield, take it out to the right side, bring it back over the middle. No pressure at all on Young. He had the luxury of just sitting back there and waiting till Rathman uncovered.
Yes, you're right. Excellent protection up front. Giants that time mounted no pass rush whatsoever.
Two guys filling in for Dorsey and Howard.
The loss of Eric Howard.
Washington are not really good pass rushing defensive linemen.
From the 50, a little toss to Henderson, and Pepper Johnson drags him down after a gain of 3 to the New York 47-yard line.
Frank, wouldn't you say of the losses you talked about, the loss of Eric Howard, their Pro Bowl nose tackle, really affects the play inside of guys like Pepper Johnson. I mean, you got to have a nose tackle that's going to occupy 2 people. If your nose guard is going to be blocked by the center and blocked by the center alone, you've got problems. This guy can't be blocked by the center alone. And unfortunately for the Giants, he's on the sidelines.
Very sore back. Had spasms now for a couple of weeks. Took last week off, but still having trouble tonight.
2nd and 7. And it's caught by Henderson, and he has a first down. Stopped by Johnson. And that was the 49ers' 30th play of the game and their first play that started in Giants territory.
Again, a crossing pattern like that takes a tremendous amount of time, and Steve Young had all the time he needed to get the pass to the receiver.
Joe Montana flashing in the signal to Steve Young.
I imagine he's having quite an input on the calls over there, too. George Seifert alluded to the fact that he would.
He's the highest priced semaphore in history. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. A little swing, and then backward pass in a live football, and a great job by Sidney to bat it out of bounds and keep possession for San Francisco because that ball was alive.
That was a lateral. That went backwards.
That'll be a loss of about 5 yards, but they keep possession.
And Sidney, incomplete.
And the play was forced by Everson Walls on a blitz.
Yeah, take a look at this. They're at the, look where the ball is, right on the hash mark. Okay, go ahead and roll this, guys, if we could. All right, now there's Young. He throws it at the 41, back to Sidney, who's at the 43. That was by 2 yards. And that was, as Al pointed out, a superb job by Sidney of batting it out of bounds.
And I mentioned Walls. It was Walls who was providing the coverage and would have come up with it as Young's throw is high, intended for Brent Jones over the middle and setting up a 3rd down and 14.
That time Young feeling a little pressure and overthrowing a wide open Jones. Giants laying back in their zone defense. Jones was between defenders and wide open, and Young missed him. Let's watch him come across now. Right there, wide open.
Third and 14 as the Niners stack 3 receivers to the right.
And here comes the crowd.
Rice is working on the left, and the pass is off his fingertips. Walls covering, 4th down.
Well, it was a pass where Steve Young, I think, threw it too far out in front of Jerry Rice. It just wasn't a very good pass.
Rice had kind of turned in and pulled up, and he saw the coverage, and Young doesn't read it with him, and it's off the fingertips.
In that situation, you're more inclined to say that I'm going to go with Jerry Rice and think that he made the right break.
And Mosienko avoids Thompson with a nice little move.
Oh, but that's stupid, because that's just going to get all your people downfield illegally, and there's flags all over the place. As a punter, you can't do that. You can't do that. Every one of your guys is leaving on timing, and there it is. Yeah.
You didn't mean it personally, I know that, but I
didn't mean what personally?
That he was stupid.
No, that's a stupid play. I'm bigger than he is. What's he going to do? Beat me up?
Remember the kicking team, illegally downfield, the 3 men in the center of the line, 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
Again, he did get pressure, had to react to it.
It was Thompson coming in and Whitmore who picked him up, the former Giant. Mike Sweatman, the Giants special team coach. Now Mosienko at the 40, and again it is Thompson trying to block it. And they will line it up and mark it out of bounds at the intersection of the sideline and the 21-yard line.
You begin to wonder if they don't consider Thompson as almost like a psychological thing against them. They seem to have difficulty even getting it off. There's so much pressure on them. They're thinking about it.
13-7 New York, and the Giants have it 1st and 10 at their own 21-yard line. Hostetler chased out of the pocket and picks up a couple, stepping out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Next week, deep in the heart of Texas, Texas Stadium in Irving, where the Cowboys
a whole lot of success in Cleveland.
2nd down and 9 from the 22-yard line. Hostetler hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Charles Haley, who had 16 sacks last year, looking for his first of 91 and nearly got it.
Boy, he puts an all-star move to the inside. He fakes a little move to the outside. There's Doug Riesenberg, number 72. He overcommits, and Haley just whiffs him to the inside in a hurry. And Haas pays the price. Riesenberg, a real overachiever, one of the hardest working offensive linemen in the league. Again, it looked like there was some confusion up front as to who had whom.
3rd and 9 at the 22. Ingram in motion and gesturing as he moves. Hostetler drops the football. It is loose back at the 10, and Hostetler, it's all he can do to come up with it.
I think Haley
applied by Haley.
I think Haley knocked it out of his arms. I think Haley hit it with his right hand and knocked it loose. If he didn't, he scared it out of him, one or the other.
Talking about him earlier in the game, he's so quick. Here he comes all the way around Riesenberg this time, and yeah, I think he touched the ball. Just a little flick.
It's amazing, a little flick like that gets it out of his hands, and yet he made that great play in the end zone on the safety last year in Tampa, just to hold on to it.
Yeah.
2 points instead of 7, and that was the difference. Landetta's kick is fair caught by Taylor at the New York 42-yard line, 32-yard punt. So 1:38 to go in the 3rd. The Giants on top by a score of 13-7.
There's Haley. He reaches. Boy, it's tough to tell. If he touched it, it was barely. Hostetler, though, after his miscue, did a good job covering up the ball.
49ers take it at the Giants 43 on first down. Young with the pump fake, escapes, and Young skirts the sideline and turns it into a nice little gain to the 33-yard line, close to a first down, short by less than a yard.
Linemen in the NFL are getting bigger and faster, but they're not getting that fast. Steve Young has remarkable speed for a quarterback. There is Eric Howard, who's joined the action now as he's putting in some work up front.
We touched on something, Dan. Both these quarterbacks, Jeff Hostetler and Steve Young, have tremendous speed. They not only scramble and run well, they are very, very fast.
Second and a yard and a half, and that's about as much as Henderson gets before he's stopped by Johnson.
A couple of weeks ago, Young had a 47-yard scoring run against San Diego. Let's take a look at Pepper Johnson.
That's how
reading
you
it
feel.
well.
That's
Fill
how
in
you
the gap.
feel, yeah. That's not bad.
Close enough to measure.
Pro Bowler Pepper Johnson last year, and
Well, he had a
deservedly
big
so.
year.
It'll either be first down or third and whatever's left here. 58 seconds to play in the quarter. First down.
If I was another linebacker, I'd love to play on the same team with Lawrence Taylor, though. He does get the attention.
Well, the last series, the 49ers were down here in Giant territory, and they stiffened and held, and what was a big stand, and now the Giants defensively are faced with having to do it again.
First and 10, 33-yard line, final minute of the third quarter. Giants by 6. Young with time. Young to Taylor, his second catch of the night. And he is stopped at the 20-yard line. They've done a good job on him tonight. The only other catch was that 10-yard fingertip grab in the first half. 13-yard gain here, first down.
That time, good job by Young, standing in there until Taylor uncovered against the Giant zone. They bend and seldom break, but again against the zone. Now Taylor breaks it right across the middle. Now he eases up there and gets the yardage for the first down. Fine pass by Young. It is again.
Notice how they moved Everson Walls all the way across the field to go with John Taylor that time, keeping Mark Collins on Jerry Rice.
Henderson from the 19 to the 16 to take us to the end of the quarter. 15 minutes to play or more. 13-7 Giants, and we'll return to Monday Night Football after this word from our ABC station. 13-7. And Young fumbles at the 18-yard line. That's the second time now in the last two drives they've had a play. The errant pass to Sidney, the backward pass, bogged them down the last time. Now they're moving, and they have this happen to Young, and it's third down and 9.
Jesse Sapolu, the center, and boy, the ball hit Steve Young right in the hands.
You can almost see him mount to Jesse Sapolu as he pulled away. That other shot, my fault.
Yep, I mean, the ball was there.
Big play, third down 9. Taylor goes to the left, Rice to the right. Henderson is offset in the backfield, and Jones in the slot. Pressure from Marshall. The throw over the middle, taken in by Jones at the 5. Covered and tackled by Taylor with help from Guyton.
We talked about Jones. He has the sure hands, good receiver. Nearly 60 receptions a year ago, and they love to use him down close. He also had 5 touchdowns last year, so they like him when they get down in to what they call the red zone.
Well, Jones gets so much work over the middle because lots of teams, including the Giants, like to throw double coverage on Taylor and Rice to the outside, and that leaves the middle,
for obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, darn right, wide open for a guy like Brent Jones. I mean, this is having those two guys out wide gives any tight end a real chance to shine.
They line Rice up in the backfield, put him in motion on first and goal. Young pump fakes and runs in for the touchdown. Steve Young.
And Lawrence Taylor is going berserk, saying that he was tackled by Guy McIntyre.
Now there are no flags, and Steve Young with the awesome burst of speed to get it into the end zone. Let's look again.
There's McIntyre. 62.
Whoa.
He starts off with his left hand right under LT's throat, but then he pulls it out of there in time, and LT's the guy that goes down to the ground. An unhappy Lawrence Taylor.
Kofer to try to give San Francisco the lead. Mojito with the hold, and the 49ers have the lead.
Well, Lawrence Taylor, by his move upfield, is the guy that has containment on the play. His job, you can't let the guy get to the outside. A lot of times that block by McIntyre is going to bring the flag. This time, it brought a 49er touchdown.
Wake up to the...
And he needs to become a little more selective in choosing his seats up in the box so that he's not behind the pole.
Exactly.
A little more TV sense would be appreciated.
49ers on top by a point. 14-13. Kofer's kick is a beauty. Taken by Meggett in the end zone. And well, the 49ers and the Giants go back a number of years, but and a lot of their games recently have been Monday night games, and this has developed into some rivalry, very memorable games.
Number 86, 17-0. The 49ers leading at halftime. Giants coming back to win it.
Right, Bavaro.
Some great games.
Well, great athletes. I think a combination of great athletes helps make a great rivalry, and that's what we have here. I mean, obviously, two of the most talented teams in the National Football League, two very physical, excitable teams, and hey, they're knocking each other flat out here today.
And two teams that seem to wind up meeting almost every year in the playoffs at the 20-yard line.
And you can count on it again this year, too.
Giants with Anderson up to the 25. He goes. Stopped there by Dave Waymer. With 13:18 to play in regulation. Dave Waymer, longtime Saint. Ray Handley in his Giants official debut. A man who has not been a head coach since the early 70s. The last time he was the head man, it was at Reed High School in Sparks, Nevada.
You like that, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do.
Which is right outside Reno.
You got it. Adjacent to.
That's just like right outside.
Yes,
you get big money to say adjacent.
Second down, and the pass is tipped. And there's a flag down. And it's holding against the Giants.
Oh, that's just what the crowd wanted. They think LT gets horse collared and without a flag, and now the Giants got one.
Holding. Number 60 the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Eric Moore. You know, we talked about Handley and the Nevada connection. And his mathematical mind, he has been banned from a few casinos because he's got that type of mind, especially where they deal single-deck blackjack.
There it is again.
There's Eric Moore.
Tackling.
Yeah, that's Michael Carter, the sensational nose guard, and there goes the flag flashing across.
We were talking baseball the other day, and I thought he was so wise. Talking about Don Larson's perfect game. Yes, October 8th, 1956. Yep. How can you remember that? He said, it's my birthday.
Second and 15. Hostetler throws, and the catch is made by Ingram. It'll be third and short. You know, I read a story about the fact Handley and Seifert were coaches together at Stanford, and Handley, when the coaches would go out, they'd get the check, he'd figure out what it was with a tip and tell you what everybody owes. So I said to him yesterday, I said, okay, 510 divided by 14 guys, and boom, like that, he says $36.43. But if he was a real genius, what he would have done is divided it by 13 and then palmed his portion when the check came.
I knew he was right, too, because Steve Hurd pulled out his calculator, and about 3 minutes later, confirmed it.
That's not what a genius would have done. That's what you would have done.
I knew you'd hit that softball out of the park.
Thank you very much. I can handle slow pitch.
Yes. Got a bite of breakfast?
Bon appetit.
Meanwhile, we have a conference taking place down here.
It's going to be 3rd and 2.
Is there a review underway? Are we trying to determine whether or not Mr. Ingram was in bounds?
After further review, play stands, completed pass.
That is indeed what they were doing. There's Mark Ingram, and 1, 2. Looks pretty simple.
Anderson looking for the first down, and he gets stood up at the 30-yard line, but may have crossed it. Griffin and Whitmore converge on the stop, and they spot it on the stripe, and that's a first down.
And that is a beautiful piece of power running by Otis Anderson, because Don Griffin has him stood up about a yard short. And I mean straight up and down, and in a position where Anderson, look at that, he's not able right there, he's straight up and down. And yet look at him able to somehow still generate enough power to move the pile another yard.
That's remarkable.
Whoa. You see guys do that when they're low, but not when they're straight up and down.
At the 30-yard line. Hostetler's throw is incomplete, but a flag is down. Stephen Baker, the receiver.
Mike Walter, the linebacker, out on the coverage all over little Stephen Baker.
Pass interference, defense, number 99, first down.
There's Walter moving in on Baker, and he arrives before the football. Pass that probably could not even have been caught.
First and 10 at the 36. As Baker splits to the left, and Maurice Carthen picks up a yard or two. Michael Carter is at the bottom of that pile.
Number 65, the Giants center, Bart Oates, making his 100th consecutive start tonight. Practicing attorney now here in New Jersey.
Bart Oates Esquire, is it not?
He was a free agent. Whatever. 85, but it was a second-round draft pick of Philadelphia in the.
Just what every team needs, a clubhouse lawyer.
A barrister.
You can all use one like this one.
Second and 8. Walter shows blitz and comes, but he is picked up, and the pass comes out here to Ingram at the 50-yard line. And that's enough for a first down. There's a flag down back at the 35.
The ball was thrown right at the line of scrimmage.
It's against San Francisco.
I think Maurice Carthen was trying to get out of the backfield and got held.
And the Giants have the option here. Now they're going to see whether they're better off.
Defensive right end, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Giants with the option of the penalty or the play.
Take a look right here. Here's Carthen trying to come out of the backfield. When he gets over here, he's going to be grabbed and held, and this is going to be the call. See, look at Carthen there. He tries to release and gets snagged. But you're right, Al. It's an interesting choice here for the Giants.
And the officials, they don't know where to put the ball.
The holding occurred during the pass. The penalty would be enforced from the previous spot, so they'll take the ball at the end of the run at the 50.
Say what?
I think he's saying that the Giants are better off taking the play rather than the 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Yeah.
But
it was really close whether or not it actually took place during the pass.
All right, there we go right there. There's Mike Walter. He grabs Carthen.
There it is.
Yeah, it happens before the pass, so that's. And you're right. You see, that would have been 5 yards and a first down. The Giants are better off going and taking the play.
Which is first and 10 right at the 50. 12-yard gain, as it turns out. 10:44 to go in regulation. Hostetler gets necktied at the 45 by Charles Haley.
Boy, Haley's getting a pretty good start on gathering another batch of Pro Bowl votes here early in the season.
This is Haley, very aware of Hostetler's mobility, and he's playing it to the outside. He's very quick. Hostetler tried to get outside of him. The 49ers were in man coverage, and he's forced him back to the inside and still made the tackle.
Yeah, he dispatches cross. He sends Otis Anderson on his way and then gets the quarterback. That's a big hunk of man there.
Second and 16. Waymer shows blitz and then backs off.
Look out, here's Haley.
And the pass is incomplete, intended for Baker. Haley was coming again. Kevin Lewis with the coverage.
I mean, Charles Haley is putting on a little textbook exposition here on what's happening on how to play defensive line. Riesenberg not getting a lot of help, almost acting like he was expecting some help from his back to that side. Almost gave Haley the upfield rush, and Haley was happy to take it. That's no fluke.
3rd and 16 at the 44-yard line. 10:09 to go. San Francisco leading by 1. Hostetler has to get it to the 49 or 40-yard line. Hits Megan at the 38. First down. Needed 16, got 21.
Megan with a good move. He was taking it outside. He saw Hostetler running out of time, broke it back across the middle and away from former Giant Greg Cox. Right there, he sees the problem, breaks it back to the inside. Cox with him, the underneath coverage, and make it wide open.
That was the right pattern for the right defense. The 49ers back in that zone, and that was just perfect.
At the 35-yard line, here's Anderson. To the 33, gain of a couple. DeLong and Waymer make the hit with 9:15 remaining in the 4th.
Again, though, the Giants up front having some problems. There's some real coordination lacking on the Giant offensive line. Anderson 2 yards in the backfield had to jump aside Kevin Fagan. I mean, he's getting a little upset at some of the lack of coordination.
2nd and 8. Fake to Carthen and knocked down beautifully at the 23 by Keith DeLong on a pass intended for Howard Cross, the tight end.
Cross wide open, and good save there by Keith DeLong. It's almost ignoring Cross coming off the line of scrimmage. No coverage on him at all.
11th play of the drive coming up for the Giants. A drive that started at their own 20. 3rd and 8 at the 33. Shotgun and 4 wideouts. Meggett stays in the block. Hostetler then dumps it off to Meggett, who fumbles the football. Out of bounds it goes. Giants have it, but not close to a first down. Kevin Lewis was the man who knocked it out.
Well, there would be right at the limit of Matt Barr's field goal range.
Boy, that looked like a forward lateral to me. Was he behind the line of scrimmage? I mean, he almost looked like he dumped that ball pretty close to forward when he went to Meggett.
Well, if it wasn't alive then, it was certainly alive when Meggett dropped it.
It was very close.
Didn't that thing look like he went forward? It looked like he was across the line of scrimmage, too. The Giants might have dodged a little bullet there.
51-yard attempt for Barr.
Right on the edge.
Hostetler puts it down at the 41-yard line. His longest last year, 49, and that's about as long as that one was. But he needed a couple of more. Young with room, first down, out of bounds, chased out by Jackson at the 48 after Taylor had chased him out of the pocket.
Another good scramble by Young. Carl Banks, the contained man on that right side, got caught on the coverage to the inside, and Young was able to get to the outside. Taylor coming on the pass rush. Young steps inside. Now Carl Banks is on the inside in the pass coverage, and Young with the super speed was able to get the first down.
So now the 49ers will play giant ball, beat the clock, take as much time off the clock as they can. They lead by a point. And Young running the play clock down to 3-2 before the snap. And then Henderson into Giants territory to the 44 and close to a first down. Banks makes the tackle, and Henderson has come on here in the second half. Keith Henderson.
Eric Howard is in there playing nose tackle now, and he doesn't look like he's being very effective. He's got the bad back. He's been struggling with that, and that time he gets moved off the line of scrimmage pretty good, and Henderson has a big hole in there. If Eric Howard isn't capable of playing up to his caliber of football this season, if that back is a chronic problem, the Giants are going to have problems.
Well, you know, Dan, one of the problems with a bad back is you can't work out. You can't do the things you need to do to be able to give it a 100%. Effort all the time.
Tough to get well.
Just short of the first down, which sometimes can be a little blessing in disguise here. It's not bad to have 2nd and inches. You figure to get it, you're going to take more time off the clock. 2nd and inches. Henderson tonight, 9 carries, 44 yards. A guy who's beginning to emerge, and for George Seifert, looking at Henderson work, Henderson played in that same backfield at Georgia with Tim Worley and then with Rodney Hampton.
Being very deliberate.
Was a blessing in disguise, because now you got another play, now you've taken another half minute off the clock, and now you have another first down.
The Giants, who dominate everybody in holding on to the football and winning the time of possession. Battle this time, getting a taste of their own medicine on this particular drive, because you're right, it is the 49ers that are being very deliberate and chewing up as much clock. They are just standing in the huddle staring at one another. Steve Young in no hurry to call this play and run it.
Suddenly the running game of a staggering is beginning to eat up big chunks of yardage.
Good point, Frank. 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. Drive started at the 34. Picks up one. He's tackled by Mike Fox. I mentioned Henderson at Georgia, and again, Rodney Hampton's a guy we've not mentioned tonight, but a guy who will be a key man for the Giants as the season. Progresses. There's Keith, who was sort of lost in the shuffle in college and trying to emerge in the NFL.
Hampton with a very sore shoulder. He does give you several more dimensions to your offense. Good running back, good receiver. Out of the backfield, the co-leading receiver in preseason, and he's unavailable.
2nd and 8. 49ers very deliberate. Game clock down to 5:15. And there's the play clock. Young to throw. Flag is down. Young on a scramble. Throws it out of bounds, and Jones really took a hit from Guyton and wants a penalty.
Well, Everson Walls got tied up downfield with the man that Young was trying to reach, John Taylor, and a flag is down.
Two flags, in fact. There was one thrown at the end of that play because Guyton rammed into Jones when he was clearly out of bounds. So you've got two separate penalties here.
They're going to get Walls and working against Taylor.
And one of them is going to be a hold back at the line of scrimmage.
There was no illegal contact on the defense, but the quarterback was out of the pocket. That penalty is declined. Negated by rule. Negated by rule. We got holding. Number 76 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, apparently they're saying that the contact by Walls against John Taylor was perfectly all right because Young had worked out of the pocket, and if anything, Walls apparently was trying to disengage himself from Taylor. That's how that works.
And then there was a flag at the very end of the play. Out of bounds. What about that one?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. The one that was out of bounds. Walls has a hold of John Taylor's jersey all the way down the field. They called 76 for holding. There is no 76 for the 49ers.
It was 85, and Steve Young.
Well, no, it was to that. It was either. Well, there's no use speculating on who it was because there is no 76.
Steve Young takes a timeout.
Let's look at that right side of the line. Harris Barton there is number 79. Roy Foster's number 67. Oh, it looks like Harris Barton applied the necktie job. To Carl Banks.
That might have been it.
That might have been.
Well, after all, it's still a car. It's not like it had 6 wheels or nuclear power or something. But what it is the first car made in this country, from scratch. The way it's made. The way people care about how it's made. It's all new. We're proud of this car. It shows what you can do when you're willing to start all over. Again.
Foot Locker presents Dwight Gooden, professional baseball.
49ers at the Giant 48-yard line. Henderson. In motion. Young throws, and it's incomplete at the 34-yard line. Threw it into a lot of traffic intended for Jones and broken up by Greg Jackson. Well, he made a good play on it.
Is this game reminiscent? In some ways of the NFC Championship game. Here we are, the 49ers trying to protect the lead, working into Giant territory. Remember what happened last time. Eric Howard hit Roger Craig. He fumbled the ball. LT recovered it. You know, it was somewhat the same scenario. We're looking at a field goal being able to win it for New York.
3rd and 18 at the 49. 4:53 left in regulation. San Francisco leading. By 1. They have to get to the 30 for a first down, and Reasons knocks it down and had the interception.
Lawrence Taylor just can't seem to figure it out. He is being mugged down. On the field.
Right in Reason's hands. Again, Lawrence Taylor's, he comes off the field in disgust, and watch what happens to him. He gets everything but a mugging.
That's pretty blatant holding by Steve Wallace,
That's
the left
second
tackle.
time. The one with McIntyre was blatant also, right in front of the official.
Yeah.
Maybe Lawrence should be even more vocal. He gets it every game.
That's Renee. Thompson coming from the top of the stream, but they pick him up on the Moshenko punt. Meggett from the 15. And out of bounds at the 22-yard line with 4:40. Remaining, a 33-yard kick and a 7-yard return. And as this one winds down, the Giants have all of their timeouts remaining.
Well, I don't think anybody expected a 35-33 ball game. We knew that the defenses would dominate, and that is what we have seen. Let's check our head-to-head confrontation between Messrs. Young and Hostetter. You see, Young has the advantage in yards. Both of the quarterbacks throwing right around 50%, but really I think it is Jeff Hostetter who in many ways has had the better night. If you subtracted the one long throw to Jerry Rice, it has not been a very productive evening for Steve Young.
1st and 10 from the 22, and over the middle, the catch is made by his favorite. Target, Baker, tackled by Bowles. 1st down at the 36-yard line.
But Young's 49ers are in the lead.
Handley cool and composed. Baker left, Ingram right. Carthen and Anderson behind Hostetter. 4-man rush, good protection, and again the catch is made by a leaping Baker, who's tackled by Griffin.
Now it's Charles Haley's turn. He's berating the officials about being held.
Good read by Hostetler when the 49ers put Haley up on the line on the left side. They go zone behind him.